My name's Chisha Chimbalupia, and I would like to talk about uh, the continent of Africa in connection to the history of Congo, and looking at the fact that they'll be having elections in December, then I feel moved to talk about this country since I've also invested some little bit of time to study the history of Congo. Basically, I've been looking at different African countries in connection to what used to happen on the relationship which they had with colonialists and imperialists, and now they have finally uh, come to control our economies in Africa. Now, before I go any further or get ahead of myself, let me introduce myself. My name's Chisha Shimba Lupia. I am an African. I've ceased to define or to call myself according to the country into which I was born. I've begun to see myself as an African because looking at where we came from, we were one country, one continent. That's how we were until the colonizers came and began to divide us into states. And then they came up with a system of balkanization, which means dividing states into smaller divisions. Now, I am so happy that Congo will be going to the polls. They will be choosing their leader. And this is what we want in Africa rather than coup d'etats and having presidents who hold on to their offices, even when they know that they cannot deliver, even when they know that there is some young ones who have gained experience, developed their skills, and are capable of leading the nations, yet they keep on shielding them and blocking them from becoming the leaders of their nations. Excuse me, I've got a problem with my eyes. So, what we want in Africa is peace and order. So, when we look at Congo, we need peace. We don't want wars anymore. These people have been through a lot, these people have suffered a lot. In terms of their economy, and also in regards to peace and order. Because many times we've been hearing rumors and stories of violence and wars taking place uh, in a certain village, a rural area. We've been hearing such stories, but it's high time that country experienced peace. It's high time that country experienced peace. And this is what Congo needs. Now, looking at the time of people like Patrice Lumumba and Mobutu Sese Seko uh, in the 1960s when they just achieved their independence, we we saw that the country never enjoyed its its independence and the benefits of independence, or the peace that comes after independence. Basically, that freedom was short lived because civil war started. Civil war started. And then we had different states or colonialists who had their own interests, interest of controlling the economy of the country, extracting resources from that country, and then using some elites whom they call in French as Evolis. These were like the Moise Chombes, who began to push the agenda of separating Katanga from the entire state. And that falls into the class of balkanization. We saw those things happening, legitimate leaders overthrown. Those things happened in Congo, and since then the people of Congo has been experiencing uh, civil wars, hardships, economic hardships, and those kind of things. So now, what does Congo need, looking at where they have come from, with leadership of corruption, leaders who have been puppets of the colonialists? When we look at that kind of a history, and then we again look at what is happening today, the question that should come into our minds is, what do the Congolese people need? Because the peace of Congo is something which the rest of the countries who are neighbors will benefit from. Why? Because we won't have a lot of people moving from their country and now coming into neighboring countries in great numbers. No, they will decide to stay in their own country. Even if, as Africans, we want our neighbors to just come into other neighboring countries, even without passports. Those are the things which we need in Africa, but we'll get to that place. We will get to that place. So, so here's the issue. What do the Congolese people need? I said, well, they need peace. Eh? They need peace. After all that they have been through, they really need peace. And they need leaders or leadership of integrity and honest. In the past, there were leaders who stole from the Congolese people, who connived with the colonialists and ended up reducing that country into a state of disorder, poverty, and lack. Yet history tells us, and those who have studied about this country can confirm to the fact that Congo is the richest country in the world. But how is it this richest country in the world is the one that suffers the most? That is the question. I heard a story about a certain gentleman who said that at one time God was traveling throughout the world. And as he was doing so, he kept on dropping uh, natural resources wherever he passed. And so he passed through this country, one country, and then drop some few natural resources into the other, then drop and leave some natural resources. Eventually, he reached Congo. And when he reached Congo, he decided to rest. And so all the resources that he had, he just left them there. And I can tell you that in Congo there is uranium, there is cobalt, there is diamond. Industrial diamonds are in Congo, in Kasai, in Katanga. There are natural resources. There is copper there, and all that. No wonder some colonialists decided to fight for the succession of Congo, Katanga, so that they could take advantage of the natural resources. But Patrice Lumumba fought against that because the rest of Congo would be nothing without Katanga. Here's my word to the leader who's going to win the elections in December. The people of Congo have gone through a lot and they have suffered a lot. It's high time we delivered. It's high time you fought for the Congolese people. And why am I focusing on Congo and not talk about Zambia or talk about South Africa and these other countries? Because when we look at what the Pan-Africanists had in mind was to make Congo the capital state of Africa. Their idea was to have the United States of Africa and then have Congo the capital state. The eyes of Pan-Africanist, African leaders, those who achieved independence, was to protect Congo, guard Congo, and ensure that the riches of Congo are taken care of. Because Congo is the richest country in the world. But it wasn't just the Pan-Africanist, the Kwame Nkrumahs, the Julius Nyerere, and the Patrice Lumumba, and the rest who are their eyes fixed upon the country of Congo, but also the imperialists. Belgium was there. At one time, King Leopold owned that Congo, claimed that Congo was his own personal possession. Belgium colonized Congo. There were also other organizations and companies that began to operate in the mines and to control the affairs of Congo. Now, where am I going with all this? What I am saying is, I know that the leader will win if he will have integrity, if he will be honest, if he will have courage. Yes, then it will ensure that the people of Congo experience peace and they will have food on the table. At least we'll even create employment here and there. Few things will be there. But Congo and other African countries working in isolation, they will never go anywhere. They will never go anywhere. And even Congo will never have her own industries if Congo will work in isolation from other African countries. There is a need for African countries to unite. Because the Pan-Africanists, they also confirmed to the fact that as long as we remain divided, this will be called this, that country, and that country. As long as we'll be like that, then there will never be proper development in Africa. There will never be proper. Quite all right, these ones will say yes, or at least us, our economy is better than the neighboring country, and us at least, some people get employment here and there. But the question is, do you have industries? You don't. Not having industries is tantamount to buying takeaways every day. That's a simple illustration or example that I can give you. We don't have industries. Even here in Zambia, we don't have industries. Almost all the African countries do not have industries. So, even if we have got mineral resources, yet those resources are processed from Western countries, Eastern countries. That's where we have them processed, and after they process them, then they give to us the finished products. That's what happens. That's what happens. So the question is, for how long are we going to be buying the finished products? For how long are we going to be subjects of the colonialists and the Westerners? That is the question. Some people are listening to my message right now and they are saying that this one is losing his mind. Yes, I think I'm better off as a person who has lost his mind rather than accepting what is not normal. But what is normal and the path that which African people should go into is the path of the unification of the entire Africa. We heard those messages from people like Bob Marley. Marcus Garvey also said that in the African people, let us go back to Africa. That's our homeland. We heard those messages from Kwame Nkrumah that there should be unity in Africa. There should be unity in Africa. Because when we have unity in Africa, then we are going to have one state, one African army, one currency, one leader, one international policy. We are going to work together. There at least our economy will grow. Because we've got everything here. We've got oil here. We've got everything here. But we don't process anything. If some Westerners feel like making money, then they will simply finance a rebel group and they cause a war in a particular area so that they can take advantage of the resources. Not just that, they also supply us with weapons. And when we buy those weapons from them, it simply means that we are supporting their economy, meaning we are keeping their people in employment. That's what it simply means. Here in Africa, we buy a lot of weapons for wars, civil wars. But I don't know whether we've got an industry that manufacture weapons and bullets. But copper comes from Zambia, copper comes from Congo. The minerals to make phones with, the natural resources to make phones with, they come from Africa. But the question is, do we have industries to make phones or to manufacture those things? Those are some of the questions we should be asking ourselves. I think it's high time we begin to ask some of our leaders who wants to lead us in Africa that you want to lead us in Africa. What plan do you have? What mind do you have in connection to the unification of Africa? If the leaders that we are voting into office do not even have a plan to bring about the unity of Africa, then it's better they don't even, let it be one of the qualifications. Let it be one of the qualifications. Let it be the cry of every African person to say, united we stand, divided we fall. But not this unit of, tribal units, ethnic units. No. We are not talking about unity of a city. We are talking about the unity of the entire continent. This is the unity that I'm talking about. Every leader should be questioned, asked, What is your plan about the unity of Africa? We'll be praying for the Republic of Congo so that the elections will pass successfully and in a peaceful way. That the leader whom the masses are going to choose is the one who will get into office and lead the people of Congo. That's what we'll pray for. And that leader should put the interests of the people first. That leader should cooperate with other African leaders and look for ways to fight neocolonialism. That leader should fight so that the country should get fair taxes from companies of Westerners, so colonialists that will be operating in different different sectors, in the mines, for example. We just need better things to, start happening into the continent of Africa and for the African people. We just need a better Africa. Enough is enough. We are tired. Let it be the cry of every African person. It's high time we loved ourselves. No more calling ourselves that this one belongs to that country, that one. Let us now refer to ourselves as Africans. Let us love ourselves and fight for the continent of Africa.